tutto quello che ho, in mezzo a tutto questo bel casino, è un motivo per sentirmi vivo, è un motivo per sentirmi vivo. Tutto quello che ho, il sangue che mi arriva dritto al cuore, l'ossigeno che spinge a respirare, è una ragione grande come il mare, come il mare. Tutto quello che ho,
Well, it's raining quite heavily here in Monte Carlo. Revo starting on pole from teammate Chris Cornwell and Linus Eriksson. Cable, who's run around these streets twice already, starts fourth from Sims and LeBeau. Then it's Marcus Nelson, Matthew Hart, and Nunez Garcia. Nico Palomino starts 10th from the home favourite Lars Chiclerc and Ewer Puff. Following him is Verse Theo, Devin Butler, and your boy in 15th place. Charles Hernandez starts 16th from Dominic Hudson and Sparks YC15. Then it's Sebastian Ocampo, Sigmund, and Honda's Gabriella Bergton starting 21st from Ezra, Bogdasarov, and 12. Well, this is the wettest start we've ever had this season so far. The Monte Carlo ePrix is underway. It's a good getaway there from Revo off the line. Could have been a lot better for Eriksson as well as they come through Saint-Devot. The 28th trying to take second away from Cornwell, and I think he might just get it done as they come through Casino Square. Revo still very much at the head of the pack, and a yellow flag coming out. Who is that for? Oh, that's the 89! Cable in the wall heading into Mirabeau. Goes from 4th down to 9th. And for a man who was once described as the master of these streets, his woes with these new cars continue. Verse Theo getting a 5-second time penalty, and more yellows coming out. Coming through, I can't quite make out who it was for, but it was certainly in Sector 2. Looking at that 89, who is thankful to have received minimal damage from that earlier incident. Yellows return, and it's for the other Power Motorsport car, the 71 of Devin Butler. The English team really struggling around these tricky streets in these even trickier conditions. But the points leader, Revo, still very much at the head of the pack with the fastest first sector of everybody. Cornwell behind him. And then Eriksson, Kazuki Sims, who's having his first trip around these streets since his Champ Car season last time out. His first trip around these streets in these ERL 03s. And honestly, considering his team is going to Indy, this is looking pretty good. Revo setting a new fastest second sector of anybody at 26.799. Absolutely flying out in front. The gap to his teammate, I must say, looking quite stable as it stands for Hyperdrive Racing in their first race under new management in Formula E. Management led by their 7-time champion, who is very much at this stage looking as if his 8th is imminent in a shorter season than last. Honestly, you cannot count out the 7 at any moment. We're right on board with the 89 of Cable, who is hoping that his Power Motorsport team can work some wonders in the pit stops. If the undercut works here, he'll be hoping for that. If the overcut works here, he'll be hoping for that. No matter what the scenario is, he just needs it to benefit him more than anything else, because he has had such a terrible time in the ERL up to this point. Of course, not winning since Paris in terms of a race, not winning a title. Oh, that Sims going slowly. It's a front right puncture for the 11. Where's that come from? There was no debris on track. In comes the 11 from 4th. dropping down to 8th before he came in. It's gonna have to be new wets. Where's he gonna come out? The field's still pretty bunched together. I think he might be last coming out of the pits here. Here is the number 11 heading down that pit straight, and he comes out behind Owen Crow-Ezra, so he's not lost. That's the solace that he's gonna have to live in right now. He's not lost. He's 22nd in front of Bogdasarov and David 12 only. My oh my, he's got pace too, but as we know around these streets, it's impossible to pass in the dry, even harder in the wet. It does seem as if the rain is letting up a little bit, and due to the fact that there aren't too many overtakes, this allows me to actually go through some of the teams and the storylines for them. And one of the biggest storylines in the past 10 or so races has been of Kiro Race Co. Matthew Hart and Lawless Leclerc, two drivers with storied histories across the ERL, and neither of them were thinking that they were going to be driving in Formula E this season or last. For the 21, you would have thought, maybe I can get into Formula E if the seat opens up in season 29. He got the seat last season after Remy LeBeau's seemingly career-ending injury in Ontario. Of course, Remy has bounced back from that. And for the 16 of Lawless Leclerc, coming in to fill in for the Red Devil for the rest of the season and potentially even beyond. And neither of these drivers doing too badly in these new cars, to be honest, and that is the bigger question. Why do some drivers seem to fare worse in these new cars than some of the others? Especially some of the old heads in these cars, because that's where you can see the biggest divide. Ocampo and UK Ball have not had a fun time with these new cars. And then you compare that to Revo and Marcus Nelson. Those two just absolutely fly. And those are the guys who have been around the longest, since around season 1. And in the case of Ocampo, season 12, of course. And with that, you can count in Daryl Bogdasarov, whose teams have just not been helping the French-Russian driver at all. Already on to lap 7 of 19, 12 to go, and if you're wondering where the overtakes have been, or any of the chaos, well, you should have been watching on lap 1. Unless it goes dry, I cannot see this race really going to ham. But it's always interesting to see some of the fastest cars in the ERL fly by these streets. And also the ERL trying out something different in this race in terms of how the push to pass function, the attack charge works. We'll often see how it is limited. The recharge has been faster with these new cars, but that's mainly been it. The recharge has been faster. Maybe the deploy has taken less out for an amount of time. And of course the cars have been faster as we now have 11 to go. But that still ran out. What the ERL is testing with this race is effectively an attack charge system that is infinite. And while this capability has pretty much been in the car since day one, it's just not been used because they didn't think they would need to. Hard's going on for the 93. It's game time. Both of the Porsches coming into the pits. They're double stacking on the boys in pink, and they both go on to hards. Is this stop too early? The Tag Heuer Porsche as they come out of pit lane. Palomino comes out just in front of Owen Crow-Ezra, who is hit by Kazuki Sims. The Japanese driver given a 5-second time penalty for his troubles. Really getting frustrated, and he'll get past, but he's in the wall. Oh, that's the red mist. That's gotta be the infamous red mist as Cornwell and Casper LeBeau all come into the pits with 10 to go. Sims now missing a part of his front wing. down in 20th with a 5-second time penalty. The rain is certainly slowing. Both of the Kiros come into the pits. Andretti now runs second and third. It is certainly not a dry track yet, but it is a drying track. I think a lot of these teams are just gambling. There's Theo and you are Puff both coming into the pits. We got Yellows down in Sector 2, and it is for Nico Palomino, who has hit the wall. More drivers have come in. The rain has stopped. Here's Revo making his way through the lap. Traffic out in front. In other words, just a normal day around these streets. Gambling and traffic with 10 to go. Will the race leader come in? No, he stays out for another tour. Around Monte Carlo, and Sims involved in another incident. That's Sparks. Sparks and Hudson. Is that involved in U-Cable? Is out of the race. Down at Anthony Knows. This is when you come down into the pits. Revo stayed out. Ericsson stays out. Garcia stays out. Marcus Nelson has come in and straps on a set of soft compound tires. Hernandez and Palomino both came back into the pits as their hard tires effectively were just not able to fire up at all. Sims has a 10-second time penalty to his name as we go green again, and the cautions return. It is for Garcia and for Ericsson, who are both off the road. LeBarton is out of the race as well. Oh, in the not even the dying moments of this Monte Carlo E3, in the middle part, Act 2 per se. And we are going bananas. It's dry. Coming out of the famous tunnel, it is dry in Sector 3. Likely dry in Sector 1 as well. It's a very small track. In fact, the famous rise up the hill right beside Tabac Corner. So as he comes through the swimming pool, we're riding on board with your race leader in Revo. He's only got 5 seconds to Marcus Nelson, who could take yet another surprising race win. In comes the 7. Behind him, the 28, who dives down into the pits as well. The 13 of Marcus Nelson will take the lead on lap 11 of 19. Well, the first Monte Carlo E3 in the ERL Formula E World Series was won by a man driving number 13 at the time. It was B Dragon Sonic, moved over to the 44 after he stopped using the 1. So who was using the number 13 at the time? It was Nelson after season 1. He was running the 58 before returning to Monaco in the 13. And he's driving like that famous Nigerian. Revo now heading down through the tunnel, and he's 12 seconds after the lead. What looked like it could have been a hyperdrive 1-2 has transformed into Andretti, BMW Andretti's best opportunity at victory in quite some time, and you just have to applaud the effort. 7 to go from Monaco. Revo with the fastest third sector series, so you certainly can't say that the reigning series champion isn't trying to close in. With this current finishing order, want to know who would take second outright in points? It would be Marcus Nelson, after he and Cornwell have been in a deadlock over that battle for quite some time. Revo with the new fastest first sector of anyone. As you can see, massive amounts of graining on that 13. This is when we're going to see these cars push to their limits around these tight streets as we're on board with the 13. Season 9 ERL Formula E champion. And as he comes through Anthony No's corner, he's going to hope to try and get past the traffic as quickly as possible. Let's take a look at Theo running up in 8th place, but with some very worn down soft compound tires. He could look quite a lot better, but the thing that most of the fans would probably be looking at as Revo sets a new fastest lap is how their homeboys are doing. Casper Lebeau in 4th, Not where he'd hoped to be, but a top 5 finish in front of what amounts to be one of the 2 home races he'll get is pretty nice. Leclerc on his return in the top 10, and behind him is your boy, who could have won in Madrid. If it was just a little bit closer, he could have been the first new French winner since Casper Leboeuf. Versus Theo comes in for his second stop. We saw that coming. Yellows are flying down in Sector 2, though. Who was that for? I think that was in front of Revo, so... Was that Hernandez? It was not Charles Hernandez, though. I must say, as Versio now comes out of pit lane. And as Marcus Nelson starts lap 14 of 19, I'm inclined to believe that it could have been Zygmunt, as he's now down in the pits. Revo comes in as well. And he's actually got quite a bit of damage to his car, so actually, it could have been the 7. As he comes out in third. It's a BMW I am ready 1-2. What is this? Season 9 of Real Life Form Lee? Sparks comes down into the pits. And it's a set of softs going on for a man in the ERL who has won some of the biggest events. As Oikro Ezra, was that? No, that seemed to be your boy actually getting very up close and personal with him. Chris Cornwell, if he can make his hard tires last, could finish in front of his teammates once again this season. Needs some good finishes, of course, as Nelson now comes in. His teammate Linus Eriksson will lead with 4 laps to go. On board with the 28, he was actually quite a ways away from his Danish teammate, was the Swede. Casper Leboeuf struggling with 5-lap-old hard compound tires, and he goes down into the pits. You can see Cornwell holding off one of the lap cars. Is that? No, that's his teammate Revo coming down into Santa Bot. The 7-time champion knows not to make any heroics down there, but he'll hold it side by side to take the final position on the podium. Up to third for Revo. And that surely could have been a lot worse. If this was any earlier on in the Italian's career, you could have seen some sparks flying. Now he knows better than to just go for a move at every opportunity that it presents itself in. Dominic cuts in with a 5-second time penalty. Contact there. Could have been with you a puff, to be wholly honest with you, but oh, yellow's down in Sector 2. Who is that for? Just in front of Revo, that is Daniel Bogdasarov, who hit the wall. Was that? No, it was Revo again. It's Revo hitting the wall again and receiving some damage as Eriksson comes in, gives the lead of the race to the 13, and more yellows coming out there. Is that for your boy or Casper Leboeuf? Can't quite tell who these yellows are coming out for, as Sims and 12 both dive down to pit lane. Cornwell comes in as well, gets out on a set of mediums that'll take him to the checkered flag. 3 to go, and I don't believe that your leaders are going to make it to the checkered flag, actually. 4-lap-old mediums. It's dicey. 5-lap-old softs. It's impossible. There goes Casper Leboeuf past the 21 of Matthew Hart. And he's trying to make sure that he can get a little more than a top 5 finish in front of his fans. That would be quite the score for the 34. Dr. Seuss is still alive. He is alive in all of us. With 2 to go, that's Nelson getting very close with you a puff as the 9 comes out of the pits with 2 laps to go. The Dane has now put a lap on everyone outside of the top 10. This has been a race of 2 halves. You've had the dry side of this race from lap 10 and on, dominated by Andretti. And the wet part, the start to lap 10, where Hyperdrive just looked indomitable. Can't make passes in the wet, so you can't get past the guys on the front row. David 12 with the fastest 3rd sector of anybody, as Matthew Hart gets a 5-second time penalty. That's contact with his old champ car buddy in Chris Cornwell. We go on board with the 96. part owner of APC Motorsport Group. And we are now on the penultimate lap. So, how are the tires looking for the 7? Not great, not great. 37% as he comes across the line. I doubt that he'll make it to the checker, and I doubt the same. Oh, cautions come out, and it's for Sparks, and that is Sims also involved in that wreck. Went sideways, did the 11, but the 65 is out and in the wall. A brief moment of respite. If anyone's going to have a fight back through the field at this stage, even with that 10-second margin, if these tires blow up, I can see the 28 coming home with a win. And what a finish that would be for the fans to see the 3-time IndyCar Series, the Season 3 IndyCar Series champion take the victory. But another caution comes out. It's for Nelson! Marcus Nelson has just wrecked from the race lead at the swimming pool, I believe. If not, then that's at Tabac. In any case, we're gonna have a grandstand finish that is at the swimming pool. We're green with a lap and only a few corners to go. Ericsson duels for the outside, looks back to the inside, coming through Anthony Nose, down onto the main straight. 1 lap to go. Around the streets of Monte Carlo, the 28 going for the lunge down at Santa Vod. Can't quite get it done. Revo defends with everything that he's got. Coming up through Casino Square. And he's holding them off, despite the tires quite well. Here's the 28. He can't get the lunge done. Is there an opportunity going through the hairpin? No, there is not. He might have to wait for either the Nouvelle chicane to back, or maybe just the tunnel, if he's got the pace underneath him. How much power does that BMW I Andretti have for this final lap around the streets? Coming through to back at 6/10 the margin. He's closing still, but there's not enough time. Revo continues his hot streak from last season. He's back in Monaco. Revo takes victory in round 5. Really had us going there. Really, really did. It's another race win in an unforgettable season already, and an unforgettable run already for Revo. 3 or more race wins in the past 4 seasons. This is domination on another level as, oh, it's a full car puncture for Hart as he comes to the line. That could have been worse for Versteo as well. The tires looks as if they could have gone. As you can see, Ezra's got that full car puncture as well. And for Ericsson and for Andretti Global as a whole, they knew they had race-winning pace. They had a race-winning strategy. Their tires, however, just not good enough. Somehow stretching to 6 laps worked. Here is the podium. Really thought that we were going to have the 28 taking home another shock race win. But the real shock was a pole-to-win victory in Monte Carlo. Oddly enough, Revo taking home yet another race win, and it's his 60th, tying the all-time ERL record at one of the most historic racetracks in the world. Linus Eriksson second from Casper Labarde gives the Monegasque fans something to cheer about. Of course, most of these guys coming over from the mainland of France. And as for the rest of your finishes in today's race, Chris Cornwell 4th from Lawless Chiclet and your boy Bennett vs. Theo, Devin Butler and Ewan Puff from Matthew Hart, the top 10. Sebastian Ocampo was 11th from Dominic Hudson and Nico Palomino. Then it's Daniel Boktasarov, Sigmund, Charles Hernandez, David 12, Kazuki Sims and Oinkro Ezra, with the non-finishers being Marcus Nelson from the lead of the race, Sparks YT 15, Nunez Garcia, UK Ball, and Gabriella Bogdan. While the 7 still leads out in front, Hyperdrive Racing locking down the 1-2 in points. Then it's Marcus Nelson in 3rd from Nunez Garcia. The Luxembourgish driver only 1 point up on Dominic Hudson and Sebastian Ocampo, who's tied on points with Casper LeBeau. Countryman, your boy, is currently 8th and only 1 point behind him is Charles Hernandez, and rounding out the top 10 is UK Ball. Following him is Nico Palomino, and then Linus Eriksson after his first point score of the season. Leclerc is 13th from Sims and Butler. Following them is Boktasarov and Theo from Hart, Ewan Puff, Gabriella Bogdan, and Oinkro Ezra, with Sigmund being the last man to score points. Sparks YC 15 and David 12 have not scored a point all season long, so taking a look at the Constructors' Championship heading into the next round of the season, Nord Hyperdrive lead the way from Next EV TCR and BMW Andretti. Tag Heuer Porsche are 2 points up on Sims 888 TGR, then it's Citroen Virgin, Logitech Power Motorsport, Mercedes EQ, Kiro Race Co, Honda Racing Team, Amlin Aguri, and Venturi Racing. 3 from 5 then for Revo. Not as good as his start to last season, we'll give him that, but still an unbelievably dominant start to another season which seems to be a championship winning one. 15 races on the calendar, 17 if you want to count the clashes. And it's only going to get more hectic in terms of racing from here. Next up, we've got some ERL IndyCar Series action for you on Sparkplug Motorsport tomorrow. So from all of us here at Sparkplug Motorsport, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time then when the ERL returns. And just a reminder that the ERL, formerly E-Series, IndyCar Series, and Track Car World Series are all fan-made projects. They've got no relation to the real-life series bearing the same name, and we aren't affiliated with IndyCar or the FIA. So of course, we can't make money off of it, really. But still, thank you so much for watching.